Okay, so the reason I'm here, I'm Patricia Zimmerman. For those who don't know me, I'm a member of PPAC. And there's going to be a presentation on January 13th here in the community in the theater. And it's going to be talking about GSCDD and the PPAC and all of the subcommittees and what we do. We're hoping that there'll be a good turnout so we can kind of clarify things. But I want a photo of this wonderful Ponds group and associates. Do the work.
Play day. He hasn't been in a month.
It's the cruise.
Well, he took him when I had surgery.
Sorry. Just take a picture.
Okay. So it's really important that the group, that the members of Pelican Preserve understand this is a volunteer group. There are a lot of people who put their time and effort into keeping our ponds healthy, and this is really an important meeting. So let me take your photo and then I'll get out of your way.
Okay.
Sorry about the Pledge of Allegiance.
That's okay.
And that is perfect.
The table looks messy.
Thank you so much, everybody.
That's we worked so hard.
That's right.
We worked so hard. That's what
It's a working meeting. Thank you, Patricia.
We'll call the meeting to order and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll have a roll call of the core team. We do have a quorum, just for a record, but Carol, this is first meeting as a core team member, is here. We have Lynn, and we have Doug and Jim. And this meeting is actually Jim Latham's meeting, to go through the pond 43. It's the biggest project we have in the coming year, so he will cover that. The next thing I have is.
Another member here?
Oh, where?
Oh, okay.
She's in a different group. We have, well, Patricia filled one out. We have three, this is the first time we've had more than one. We have three individual things here from a public comment. Want to go first, Cindy?
Cindy Watterson. I've been here 13 years. I live on Bella Vista, which is pond 26, I believe. And when I bought it because I had the pond and it's preserved and it's beautiful. Since that time, the grass is really encroaching. It's probably 10, 12 feet out from the bank, which I brought pictures, not printed out, but I have my phone. I know the Ponds Committee has put some blue-green on it at one point, trying to either kill it or something, which it really didn't do anything. So I was coming today to see if there's anything that can be done to push this grass out of the pond, get more of the water back.
Okay, so this is pond 26. So you're right at the beginning of Bella Vista on the right side when you pull
No,
in.
I'm at the very, I'm 8 houses down. I'm at the very tip of the pond, where the pond ends.
Oh, okay, yes, okay, I was looking at the wrong one. Okay, so you're on the left-hand side.
Yes.
Okay, I'll work with the contractor. I'll take a look at it and we'll, I'll ask him to, what he can do to further address it. Usually we try to keep the littoral band around a 6-foot depth. Usually if you get down around the ends where there's a corner, that starts getting a little hard.
Yeah, this is my water view.
Managing. What is your house number?
32. 32.
Is it more related to the skating water? Or the
No, I know the pond is very low.
Yeah.
Granted, but as you can see, I don't know if this is going to be a good enough picture for you. You can see a lot of the grass is coming out, and it goes all the way up around the bend towards Sevilla. On that back.
Oh, that's on the conservation part.
Yeah,
That's the end of the pond.
Gotcha.
she's good in that area.
Just so you know, Cindy, when that is addressed, you might come back again and complain about the fact of all the dead people floating. Because it takes a while, once they spray it and kill it, it takes a while for that to sink back down when it's dead. I mean, it's not hard to kill. The hard thing is that then you have the floaty debris after it's been killed.
But it's coming back. You ever dig it out, see whether?
But you can double spray it or spray it frequent to do that.
It will always have littoral there. It's managing the depth. And when you get into the corners like there, it's shallower and that really promotes growth. So it requires active spraying to keep it at bay.
Okay.
But they've been doing a good job, but I will reach out to them and I'll shoot you an email, let you know.
Thank you.
And she's also an active member of the landscape. Corridor.
I feel your pain.
Corridor. Mark, replan. Okay, the next one I have here is from Jack on pond 21. You want to, yeah, 3 to 5 minutes?
I'm Jack Dempsey, and I live on Bellagio Drive. And I've got a couple of questions. First of all, when you look at the pond bank restoration at the GSCD site, it doesn't show any of the Pelican Preserve ponds. It just lists maybe 5 or 6 of the ponds that they're going to be doing this year. So I know that there's a separate list that we have for the Pelican Preserve ponds, and that pond 21 is like priority number 6. Okay, so the first question is.
It's our first priority
should they
for
be
next year.
together? Should all of the ponds be listed on one site, us Pelicans and GSCD for gateway ponds?
They're separate because of the pieces.
Yeah, but I think what he's saying is he would like to see on the one side of our priorities. As they have their priorities on there with the pond numbers, but that you were asking that we have our priority numbers listed in some formal way.
And the reason they're different is they pay for theirs.
Yeah.
We pay for ours.
But we could still have a list of
We could.
priorities. Yes,
So the $600,000 budget that we had, of which we have $580,000 something left over.
right.
And we're going to be doing pond 43, which is roughly $280,000 approximately. So we got another $300,000 that we could spend at some point. So my question is going to be, pond 21 is going to be the next priority, which is number 6 on the list. So where do we stand for pond 21 activity?
That should, hopefully it's done a year. We're doing this meeting a year from now, picking the contractor to do it. It should be done in next spring,
27?
Yeah.
27.
Or 21. Is it
27, yeah.
On 20.
27. Year 27.
So pond 43 is being done in the spring of 2026. This year,
Which one?
pond 43.
Okay.
Your pond is scheduled to be done next year.
Yeah, and Jack, we don't know yet what bit you're looking good.
It's
You
going to
come
be big,
prepared.
because it's one of the
You
big
come,
areas.
you come prepared, okay, because you read through stuff and you know what the low bid was, because you mentioned the number. That will be decided a week from Thursday as to what vendor or contractor we go with for pond 43. The low bid is well, you're going to see it here in a little while. If that is the case, it is about half of our budget that we had budgeted for pond restoration. If that is selected, that we don't know yet right now, but you are correct on what you said. And that will give, depending upon how that goes, we will have more money to work on, but I don't think the amount of money there would be enough. That's a big pond. It's a big, I think it's the biggest linear foot we have.
1,700 something.
Yeah, we might be able to do some smaller almost erosion control in a few places that are really bad, but to really do the whole pond, it will take a whole calendar year budget for that to do that.
Okay, just 2 more real quickies.
Okay,
On your lake bank priority ranking, could you update that list to say which ponds are done?
Okay.
You got the 6 of them, because I'm not sure whether pond 50, what is it, 54? Has 54 been done yet?
No.
Okay, so it's gonna be 43, then 54, and then, yeah, that's what the list.
Yeah. Pond 21 is a high priority pond because of its frontage along Pelican Preserve Boulevard. So that was prioritized up because of the amount of fishermen along the bank. And,
General view of it, everyone drives by.
you know, this is almost like a town center pond. It's very visible. There's a very high traffic around it, and that becomes something that drives the priority as well.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
You know, if it was, you know, a pond behind that was landlocked, I'd say that would have that wouldn't count as much because you don't have the risk of fishermen or people walking down to see the sunsets, which they're always doing over there. You know, so we've seen a lot of people collecting along that bank, and that became a concern.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for having to come in. Thank you also.
One other question or comment for you, Jack. So you know, a lot of people don't know this. Ponds has been paying for their pond replacements, repairs, and bank refurbishments out of our own tax money. Been doing that for 15 years. Gateway, by comparison, went out and got a bond to pay for doing theirs. They're currently paying on a $21 million bond to pay for that. We're doing it every year. So we thought this year, this group thought that they had 600,000. That's what we expected bond 43 to cost. Luckily, we have some lower bids, which will allow us to bring forward some other priorities.
Okay,
But
That's
you know,
bond
but
43.
you gotta really understand that difference. We do not have hidden bond fees to pay. We pay it together.
I didn't know that, but
Yeah.
that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, last one is Ed. Hedges has one on the fishing on the flowway.
Yeah, there's, Ed Hedges, I'm the vice chair of PPAC, and I know there's been a lot of, issues with people fishing in places they aren't supposed to fish, and things have got brought up. And I believe it worked their way through. There's a form that the city requires to enforce trespassing. And I believe the, Gateway has done that for the flowway. I don't know if anybody knows different. And it made, and the golf course has actually signed that, from what I understand. And I think it came up through this committee a couple months ago, and it came to PPAC. And PPAC was reluctant to sign that and wanted to pursue education first.
Yeah.
I mean, people were just uncomfortable with sending the police out to arrest teenagers fishing, you know, and stuff. And
Your grandson fishing on the pond, on the thing.
so, but then there's been several incidents lately, and we've got a couple of residents that are,
Vigilant.
big,
Mhm.
anyway, I got an email this morning because somebody was walking their dog along the flowway on the golf course. So, but anyway, I think maybe Jim and Peggy got the email, and so they wanted to talk to you about there was a fishing thing that came out or whatever.
Yeah.
And they went to the community association, and they gave them Peggy and my name. And fortunately, we both can't talk to them because of sunshine. But Peggy was going to get together with them after the first of the year, but she's out of town, kind of indefinitely on family emergency stuff. But I don't know enough about fishing and the requirements, and so I'd like to be able to engage somebody from this. And I think it's been an ongoing thing for years.
That's been over a year that one resident,
Yeah.
one household, I don't know if both residents within that house has complained. You probably would fill up your drive with all the videos they send out of people walking the dog or fishing on that area.
Now, where's that?
It's at the end of Casella on that, they call it a weir, I call it a dam
Okay.
that's there.
The end of
And
December.
there's also, that's where the adjustable weir is right there too.
Okay.
And,
To celebrate.
and people come down and by the way, that's Gateway, the bank is Gateway. It's not the ponds, it's not the ponds or people.
Right.
You know, it's
Gateway.
not-
Yeah, the flowway. Yeah.
Gateway asset.
And there's a stretch of golf course property
Right.
between the Casella property and the
Yeah,
Gateway.
so I mean, the Pelican Preserve fishing requirements are not in effect in this area because it's not one of our ponds. Our
Correct.
fishing thing is you got to fish within the designated fishing area. That's Pelican Preserve. Gateways on their side is if you can access the bank without being on people's accessing by getting to the bank without going through a person's property, then you can fish in that area. That's their, which is different than ours.
Right,
Okay.
it's probably treated similar to a stream or river that it's public domain and a homeowner can't.
And technically, the only way they could get to this area without walking on private property is from one of the roadways.
But the private property homeowner's not complaining.
Now,
It's another person complaining.
Yeah.
Correct.
no, the association, well, let's be honest, John Berry is the one reason why PPAC did not recommend doing what they did to make it more restrictive, because he actually talked to the fishermen and he actually lives in that community and did not see an issue from a Casella standpoint.
So bottom line, there's really nothing we can do.
I think what he's here was he wants to kick this over to Jim.
It doesn't belong in this. It's not.
No,
It's not.
that's why I brought that up. It's not a pond.
It's not ours.
But it's a pain, it's a pain. I almost said pain in the butt,
So now-
but it is a pain.
Give it to Paul.
Opinion, if,
I get it.
so it's really, it's
It's your-
a individual person that's,
Yes,
has the,
Yep, one
At this
person.
location, I saw on Facebook too, this past week, there were some people fishing in another pond location somewhere else too.
Facebook doesn't,
Yeah, but
doesn't count. for-
but I mean, if you look at the history of this.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, there's a spreadsheet with all the instances. It is one individual.
It's a
now-
serious bug for her.
Yeah, it's serious for us because we get the emails.
Well, you can delete that.
You know, but now, so as a community, if it's even our place, do we want to try to restrict it from this area?
You have nothing to do with the
Because-
flowway.
Right, so, but as a you know, to me, it would have to be something that the community would
But
have to go
flowway
to
is not the
gateway.
community.
Yeah, but
Because, and there's probably, Paul, was I right in that,
well,
the flowway is really like a river that the bank, the gateway property is public domain? As long as you don't walk on private property to get to it.
there's a couple of factors, even though it is gateway property, it's within the Pelican development area, so I don't know if there's anything. I can look in our.
I don't
applications
think
to see if there's.
the only thing that would restrict this is if Casella restricted people going through that area we're talking about to get there. I mean, Casella could restrict it, but to me, it's not a Pelican Preserve.
And it's even more complicated because the actual parcel around Casella is still in WCI's name.
And isn't the hidden part of that still,
All
golf
right.
course,
Now, this backs up onto
to one side, at
Siberia.
the bottom of the excuse me, the bottom of the cul-de-sac. I believe that's still golf course.
No, that's,
It isn't?
that's the Casella common
got that
property
whole-
that's still in WCI's name.
So this backs up onto the other side of the flowway is what's in Tiberio.
There's a stretch of golf course on the other side of the flowway.
Right, but it would be accessible from this Tiberio because here's where the,
You could, from either, any of these road crossings, you
Right.
could walk down the flowway.
right, and this is where the,
But they can get there from the golf course. If they
Yeah.
choose to do it.
Yeah. All right,
But the
Thank
golf
you.
course is
and
private.
Okay, we'll put it back to Gateway. Well, the reality of it is it's probably never gonna be controllable.
there'll
right,
be something else.
I mean, it's pretty far from the resident's home.
But, and I'll just say this and we'll go on because we don't have a lot more time to get to Jim. This started when we put the adjustable weir in. This is the people that were on the bank that were complaining about the adjustable weir.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And this is the same homeowner that maybe plants so that
She
she
could
could
see it.
see the adjustable weir.
And we're gonna
Oh,
paint
this
the
has been going on for at least 2 years about something. Whether it's that or walking the dog or fishing, it's just when she's on her lanai, she does not want to see anything on the other side. She doesn't want to see any person or anything. What?
Let her plant plants in the backyard.
That's
Well,
a
yeah, I
possibility.
did that.
No, we don't want her property.
But Huh?
High enough that she can't see.
You-
it?
Well,
You
must not,
paid a chance for the weird.
must not see, must not. Okay, thank you. Wait, all right, I think that's it for public comment. Next thing is the approval of the December minutes. They are here, they're online. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the
second.
minutes.
Any comment, anything against that?
Accurate.
Okay, we can vote. All right,
Aye.
4-0. Okay, we'll put up the finance. There ain't much seeing that, but there's our finance. We still have about 80%, 78.8% of the money.
That's after 1 month.
That's actually November. I think it's
So
more, 2
October
months.
end of it.
There's also a November in there. There's two of them in.
That's October.
There's one.
Yes.
Okay.
It went from 78 to 77.
77, yeah.
That's what we.
So parts of it.
Yeah, and this is where Jack's seen the $600,000 worth of budget for pond bank restoration. That's why I knew you read this type thing. Okay, we're in good shape from that aspect. And like you say, depending upon how it goes, no matter what, we're going to have some money to do anything with. Whether we accept a low bid or the next to low bid, which they're still both under what we had projected to spend for, which is good. All right. Now, the next thing is Jim on the Pond 43 restoration. I'll just say some things here before I give it to you, even though it's your time.
Nope.
To me, this is the hardest decision as a group we've ever been engaged in. As you can see in here, the recommendation from staff, Chelsea and staff, is to accept a low bid, okay, which is about $210,000 less than the next one that's still viable. One had been thrown out because it wasn't viable the second. And it is a challenge from the aspect they did the low bid did 4 ponds last year. Okay, in Gateway. And I'll let Paul later talk about it because he was involved with that vendor with the and Tetra Tech. You can talk about Tetra Tech's thing, but they're just it's challenging from the standpoint of that Chelsea believes that the projects went well with the 4 ponds. And there's a little bit of a disagreement whether you're the project manager or whether or not you're looking at the budget. And at the end result, you know, between getting from the bid to the end result. You know, who cares about that except the project manager, as long as you get there in the time frame. So it's a challenging thing when you look at that. I would give it to you and we can maybe say some stuff later as each of us will have a chance to talk after you make some form of a recommendation.
Sure. So, I looked at all the responses. The lowest bid was 270,000. It was quite noticeably lower than the next 3, which was a cause of alarm for me. My concern is that will they do the type of job that we expect to be done in our community? Having it done good enough, I don't like. We kind of got burnt the first year of this with 1 pond. It was a lot of work holding the contractor to meet the terms of their contract. And while they eventually met the terms, it was not a very good experience. And the end result, I'm still not happy with. That they were actually one of the bidders who returned, but they weren't, thank God they weren't the low bid. So, but so I've had a bad experience using a low bid in the past, and I can't tar all low bids that they're all going to be, unsatisfactory. So trying to give everybody a chance. So the low bid was MRI. There was a little bit of back and forth whether they were going to be the recommended winner based on prior experience. They did a good enough job in Gateway. Gateway uses a different technology on their pond banks. It's a larger white stone bank. The stones are probably, maybe a little smaller than my fist. And it's a wide band. I happened to be by two of the ponds on Saturday to look at it. I don't like the way it looks at all, but that's personal opinion. But again, that's not what they bid for in Pelican. We have different requirements in Pelican than they have in Gateway. We have to be able to support littorals on our ponds per our development agreement with South Florida Water Management. So they came in low. They were contacted. They verified that their bid was, they're staying with their bid. Paul had to work with them in Gateway. Now I know at first they tried to back out. They had some issues with the project manager and they tried to back out, but Gateway held them to it because there's a performance bond. If they win the bid, they can't just say, well, only kidding, I don't want it now. There's a cost for them. So they did do the work. Well, was there experiences that you can share, comfort levels?
Yeah, so I started at the district soon after that, sometime in May. And so I did take over a couple of the ponds that MRI was working, and there was a change in the project manager. So there was a definite change in philosophy. There was also the challenges with whether the district was going to activate or enforce their performance bond, because like Jim had stated, they were thinking about kind of reneging, trying to get out of the deal. But they still they stayed firm. They said that they would continue and meet their obligations. I kind of came on the tail end, so I dealt with a lot of the quality or the smaller things at the end that it to me was somewhat of a challenge, because I was constantly having to ask and communicate, okay, where's the status of the sod, the watering of the sod, maintaining it, just the finer things at the end that to me was somewhat time consuming. I didn't quite understand why the simple things were taking so long and trying to resolve those. But at the end, they did meet the requirements of the contract. They did replace the sod a couple times, which I think if they would just taken some time to do the watering, it would have resolved those type of issues. So those were just the little things that I dealt with. But other than that, they did meet, the terms of the contract. They did, our engineering team, Tetra Tech did, sign off on their punch list. So, they completed their projects.
Was that the first time we used them? The district, those 4 ponds?
I'm not sure. I would have to double check.
I think so, because Chelsea didn't bring any other experience with them. I would have thought she would have.
Well, I want referencing because CB Civil was a totally new character. We had no knowledge of them. We just,
Yeah.
so we all learn in the
Yeah.
process.
So it's not to say that, if they get selected, there will be a lot of eyes watching to, make sure that they're doing the job that we contracted them to do in the proper manner. So we will be satisfied at the end. I have to look between the first one we did, CB Civil, and the last 2 that we did, which was a complete 180 difference from C&B Civil, that they really required no hand holding. They did a very good job, and the end result is, all the homeowners were very pleased with the end result, which is really just the appearance.
And was that extreme?
That was extreme.
Yeah, because we've got a lot of experience with that.
Extreme divers, yeah.
But again, so MRI was 270. The next 3 low bids was between 481, 487, and 547. And that made me alarmed with the 270, that it was nowhere in the ballpark where the majority of the bids were. There were 2 other bids. One was 995 and one was 1.1 million. which we discounted them. We had no, Cross Creek does do work in the area. And they're a known good quality entity, but, we haven't used them in our community, so I can't say that they gold plated anything for us and given us back something that would drive that value. With that said,
Jim, I have a question. So if we make a recommendation and it's not the lowest bid, will the Board of Supervisors sign off on that? Or is this strictly they're gonna go lowest bid no matter what?
so what
When we recommend.
what will happen now is the 4 members will make a decision for themselves, what they feel is the direction they would choose.
And that goes to PPAC.
Tomorrow
Yeah, right.
it goes to PPAC.
Right.
PPAC has the ability to agree or disagree.
Uh-huh.
Their decision then goes to the board of directors,
okay.
the board of supervisors for their decision. Now, they will look at it and see that the staff is recommending one thing and the community is recommending it or not recommending.
Uh-huh.
And they may decide, what they feel is best.
Specifically to your question, there's no requirement for low bid.
Pardon?
There is no requirement to
Okay,
accept low bid.
okay,
If there is extenuating
all
circumstances,
right.
things like that, that's all considered.
Because Extreme Divers is still under budget, right? Still in the
Yeah.
budget.
It's still on the budget, and the thing, going back, you have to know, justify
Mhm.
why you did not go with the low bid. You used a different term, I use the word justify, the fact that why you didn't accept the low bid, you have to justify. And you do open yourself to some form of protest that does occur because it's government, that could occur. Okay? And we got to watch it right now because of what we're talking about, because a week from Thursday, these 2 individuals will be voting on this. So we got to make sure we don't include them in any of that type of discussion.
So it really comes down to, is the risk worth the reward of having 270,000, basically a $210,000 less. And if they are the winning ones, obviously we will work to make sure that they provide the best. And God, it would be great if they met all of what we look to see. You could meet the terms of your contract where you're not held, negligent. Are you going to be happy with the job?
Yeah.
That's another thing. That's an intangible that you can't put into a contract, or, it'll be so many lines that it's not, people are going to be questioning whether it's worth it. So, are there any questions?
Well, the other comment,
Yeah.
if they comment.
Yeah.
MRI is trying to get business in Gateway.
Yes.
Gateway's got a lot more funds to do. So they are trying to get their foot in the door. They're not, I don't believe they'll disappoint us. I mean, we hold the contract. I totally agree with you. C&B Civil was a challenge,
Mhm.
but we finally got it. It's awful hard to ignore that kind of money, but I'll shut up. There's not a fly-by-nighter, not one and done. MRI is coming for the long term.
I will bring a couple things up, not that they haven't already been addressed, but number one is Chelsea and staff approved going with low bid because of the 4 ponds, and I won't use the word successful. They completed the project with specs and did an okay job.
You're saying 4 ponds they did for Gateway.
4 ponds
Yeah.
they did from Great.
But from Randy said they were
No,
kind of,
no,
out of the gate, they were kind of,
Well, out of the gate, what the bond, let's just say it was $1 million for the 4 ponds, maybe it was more.
Uh-huh.
They would forfeit $1 million if they backed away. It's not like it's 10%.
right.
They would have forfeited the entire, once they knew they were going to be forced to do it financially, they did it. Okay.
Mhm.
And number 2 is Paul's opinion of this. And I'll bring up Tetra Tech. Tetra Tech, we paid Tetra Tech to make a recommendation. Okay? Did you read the report?
Mhm.
They didn't make a
I know,
recommendation.
that's what I'm looking for. There's nothing there.
There is no recommendation in there. And they're the ones, Tetra Tech's the ones that had to project manage MRI with the 4 projects. So it's not in that report, but there's a reason they didn't recommend the low bid with MRI.
Right,
It says,
There's a reason that that's there.
it is our opinion that this bid is low based on previously completed similar work in Pelican Reserve, and we have reservations about making a recommendation for the low bidder.
But they did make a recommendation of anyone.
Yeah.
In the report.
So I'd like to make a couple comments. So I was on pond 47, which is one of the ponds that extreme divers
Yeah.
did. And so we're able to watch the whole process and the end result. The end result was even probably one of the biggest critics. I won't mention a name.
Yeah,
Who is my neighbor, but even to his satisfaction, which is
No
small
no
compliment. But anyway, and so, you know, and watching that process and seeing the results, it was, and what Jim had stated earlier about the first vendor that came in and did all the issues that had with that, and so with extreme divers, we have 2 examples, and we know what they are capable of, how they did it, the efficiency once they started, and everything. You know, it was a positive thing. And so I find it with and this is the comments that Doug just brought up about this MRI that Tetra Tech would not give a recommendation for, and they have reservations because of the low bid. So the fact that they gave a low bid, they want to get business in Gateway. Gateway has lots of ponds and all this kind of stuff. Would they put a bid in and actually know they're going to lose money, anticipating they're going to get a lot more work? Possibly, I think that's bad business, but I wouldn't, you know, in today's world, I wouldn't be surprised. So, but I do have, you know, this from my experience in observing and living on and seeing the results. I have, in my mind, extreme divers is sort of a proven commodity, and to go with the lowest bid, we're sort of, you know, taking a chance. And so I don't know if that's the best thing for us to do.
I was going to say, they're all valid comments. How much is the risk of going with, how much is it worth in your mind?
Right.
We have to put a dollar amount on how much that risk is worth. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it is $210,000.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of-
$50,000.
That's real money.
Yeah, $50,000.
Would be worth off.
Even
210.
Yeah, that's all.
I mean, we as a group have always acted as though it's our money. So, I mean, $210,000, it is a lot of money. And I think they did okay. And the low bid did okay with 4 parts. Let's just say, I'll give them okay.
Yeah.
They completed the specs at the end. They were pulling teeth to get there, but they got there, right? When you look at extreme divers, I'd give them a very good plus, because they actually added stuff to the specs that they weren't required to do. They did the littorals that weren't part of the contract, and they did them for nothing when they did. So they overachieved more than when you expected.
Mhm.
And like you said, Joe, when you overachieve Joe Schofield's expectation, that's a big deal. So, you know, it comes down to a very good plus versus a okay and $210,000.
Yeah.
I mean, that's as simple as.
If you're writing the check, what do you want to do?
I assume Tetra Tech will be overseeing that.
Yes, and that's why they don't want to recommend it.
My question is, the Tetra Tech, would there be additional costs to Tetra Tech if there are problems
Yes.
that they have to chase?
It's an hourly contract. We don't know what the number is. You'd have to estimate how many more hours are they gonna spend? I mean, you got Paul here, he's gonna have to spend more hours, right? But he's free, so, you know.
But that brings up a question, Paul. So Tetra Tech, if they have to spend more time overseeing this and doing repeated visits, that's all billable.
Yes.
And it's not,
It's an hourly contract.
even though,
Well, guys, you're making it into something.
well,
You're making it into something. They learned, MRI learned something.
based on
Those
past,
four-
based on your past experience, though.
Yeah.
This is not,
I'm not biased one way or the other, believe it or not. But all I'm saying is MRI had to learn, like C&B learned. C&B was not a good experience for us.
Yeah.
We probably will never do them again. And I understand that. But MRI, they got through 4 of them. Right? They got through 4. So they're not, they may be new here, but they're not new to the district.
okay.
Is it worth the 210,000?
That's why it's as simple as that, really. But it's simple but complex, right?
It is. It's not an easy decision.
No.
And
We know and love them. We know and love Street. We've had it for 15 years.
the two people that worry about it is Tetra Tech, because they have to be the project manager.
They got-
Paul, because he's got to be out there helping with project management, sometimes being the bad guy. And the other person this is affecting is Jim,
Yeah,
because he's responsible for this project from our group.
Mhm.
And he looks at it, it's going to take more of his time.
Right.
I don't like giving up softball and pickleball. Jim will not be a happy camper.
No, it's Jim. Jim, you might lose
and that's a
that.
consideration.
Right, no, those are all considerations.
Yeah.
But, you know,
But as a person who lives in the neighborhood, I'm the
Yeah.
homeowner that this work is being done
Right.
for.
That's
that-
right.
That wants to hold to a different level.
Yeah.
Than Tetra Tech and Paul as meeting the terms of the contract, you know.
Well, you keep saying that like it's a negative.
Well,
It really isn't a negative.
sometimes it is.
Well,
I mean, to answer your question, Jim, so there are allotted hours from Tetra Tech's side to do CEI, to do their inspections and to address issues. Should they go over that, yes, they would come back to
For
district for
because
additional.
usually that contract is not to exceed.
Exactly.
That contract that we have with Tetra Tech is a not to exceed.
You also have my time as well, that I'm heavily involved, no different than I was in all the other pond
Right.
projects. So I'm the second set of eyes. I'm, you know, typically dealing with resident issues and complaints or concerns, so.
how much is that Tetra Tech contract? Because both this contract and the Tetra Tech will hit the $600,000 budget. $600,000.
Right, you got it.
Both of them, Tetra Tech and this.
Yeah, and we might have to also get some littorals in that budget too. It's more than, you're right.
I do.
Before Jim makes a recommendation, I will go back to your comment. I'm not convinced that whatever we do here today in this group will match what PPAC does when they do the vote. Will match what the Board of Supervisor does when they do the vote. I mean, this is an opinion, recommendation.
Yep.
It's not, this is what we're going to do.
Right.
And at the end of the day, there's only one group that is this is what we're going to do, and that's the Board of Supervisors.
Right, final decision.
And that's the final decision.
So I got a question.
Yeah,
In 15 years, I don't think the board has ever overturned PPAC. And I don't think PPAC has ever turned.
Committee down,
What you
subcommittee.
got? You're where the rubber meets the road. It's gonna hold the most weight.
Chelsea's on, if you have any questions for Chelsea.
So I have a
unless
question.
she wants one.
So the budget is 600,000 this year for,
Yes, yes.
and if we spend 270, that other money we didn't spend stays in the budget for other things? Is that,
Yes. Yeah, we don't.
then we'll decide what we're gonna do with that money? Is that right?
Pull it in, Jackson.
But just so you remember, that
We don't carry it over though. Once
We
we
have
don't
to-
spend it, we don't
Yeah,
carry
we
it.
have.
No, you do carry.
We do carry it,
Yeah,
okay.
but just so we remember, that $600,000 was 300 really out of this year, and we borrowed 300 for
Well,
next
next
year
Okay,
to cover.
But
So
we
it's
never lose.
600,000, but we have to pay back next year
all right, so if we
$300,000.
don't spend the 600,000, so we're ahead of the game as far as paying
Right,
back.
well, yeah, if we don't spend 600,000, we're better off than if we do.
Yeah, there's another way of looking at it. Your budget for the year is 804,000. You're spending $1 million. Next year, your budget's gonna be 804,000.
Mhm.
So if you don't spend the 300 this year,
the next year. You never lose it,
Yeah.
but you save, it is a savings. It's a real savings.
Okay,
Jim, you wanna make a
looking at the time, I will make a recommendation to not go with the low bid. I feel comfortable recommending Extreme Divers, which is the next viable bid under that, for the reasons that you talked about before. It's one person. There's four of us to have to make a decision that we will bring up to PPAC. Lynn, what is your?
I was gonna say, you'll have a second.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
And then discussion.
now, yeah, we already had a lot of discussion, but if there's any more,
Right, but I agree with Jim on this one. And that, and from what I said previously, I think we have a proven commodity. They did more than, like you say, the littorals and all that they added, that was, we paid over 20,000 to have a pond.
Yeah.
Littorals in, so that's like a 20,000 bonus they gave us, and something like that. So I think whether or not we expect them, are they gonna do that? If you went with Extreme Divers on 43, are they gonna do exactly the same thing? Would they add that at the end? We don't know that. But anyway, I agree with
do you have
that.
any comments? before we
Well,
go?
I have comments.
okay, go ahead.
The littorals are not included in this contract.
Right.
So
On
you will-
purpose.
On purpose, you will have to pay for those separately. If you choose not to go with the low bidder, you need to have justification why. Because that could potentially open us up to a bid protest, which will delay construction altogether.
Okay,
Harold,
as Bob said, 210,000 is a lot savings. I think do have experience they did 4 ponds in Gateway.
Yeah.
And Paul had some dealings with them, so I think probably the best way, for my opinion, would be the lowest bid, 270.
Doug?
I already had a lot. I mean, it's just, I don't,
Do you have a recommendation for your feeling? There's four, we can go with the 2 and 2. It's, these are just our opinions.
Yeah, right.
like I said, it's,
If
it doesn't.
if the motion is, how many committee
Four,
members?
there's 4 members, this is a quorum.
Okay, so if it ties, it dies.
Then do we have to go back and make another recommendation? And that could be 2 and 2, or do we just say we're like Tetra Tech and we don't have a recommendation?
That's completely fine too. You guys can, if you guys, it can tie and die if that's what the board, the committee members vote, and then that is what is reported up to PPAC. But to Bob's point, historically, PPAC you guys are subject matter experts for ponds and conservation, and so then you're putting the decision in PPAC's hands with no recommendation from the committee.
What did you vote, Doug? I'm not sure.
I didn't vote.
He's
Well,
contemplating.
No, these guys,
No pressure.
have you voted or was those comments?
There were comments. No, we haven't voted.
Oh,
yet.
Hold
I'm sorry,
on.
I'm sorry.
No, my understanding is that Jim did first,
He's
Lynn
second,
did second.
and then was open to comment.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We haven't voted yet.
Even though Lynn said he was going to vote, and even though Harold said he was going to vote.
Yeah.
It wasn't a vote.
We jumped on it. Yeah.
It's not an official vote.
Okay,
So easy to confuse.
Hold on. Jim made a motion to proceed with Extreme Divers.
and
Which
that
would
was
be,
seconded.
and then Doug, you seconded, so that means.
No, I
you-
didn't.
I did. No,
Lynn seconded.
Lynn seconded.
I'm sorry, because you guys have to say your names. I don't know everybody's names
all right.
and your voices.
Yeah.
So when you do these, you guys make sure you say your name. So that, as of right now, you guys are open for discussion to proceed with
Right.
Extreme Divers.
And
So
we-
you can-
And
you
we
can
had that
continue.
discussion, at least I think we did.
Well, you can
Very
continue
good.
to discuss if if Jim wants to change his motion, he can withdraw it, or you can call for a vote and see what happens.
I think we call for a
Call
vote.
for a vote.
We only got 10 minutes, so we
Yep.
have to come up with
Clock's
something.
ticking.
Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, well, I vote to stay as I expressed, extreme divers.
I vote to stay with Extreme Divers.
That's Lynn Applegren.
Lynn, yeah, this is Lynn.
The Harold Danu MRI construction.
Drum roll, please.
And we put it on Reddit, sure.
On first.
No, no, I was hoping to go last and not have to vote. From my viewpoint, I think $210,000 is a lot of money to leave on the table. You know, I know what happens with low bid. I'm discussing versus just voting. That's because I vote that we go with MRI.
Okay, Jim Latham, I will concede
So-
and go with MRI. I will
Hold on,
change
hold
my.
on.
Yeah.
Jim, hold on. So just let's recap that motion for record keeping. So the motion dies 2-2. So now you can call for a new motion. Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, I'd like to make a new motion to select the contractor for MRI for the best.
I'll second that. Harold Danu, second.
Okay, a vote.
Jim?
Jim will vote for it.
Obligatory. I still keep the same vote.
Harold Danu MRI.
I'll vote for him.
There will be a recommendation to PPAC to proceed with MRI.
But I think it's fair to say that it's not every time we go forward, it's a unanimous decision when we go for it.
We don't want it. We want people to be comfortable with their
Absolutely. Yeah,
decisions and not feel that they have to do it because
Right.
of other people. It was not an easy decision for me, obviously, and I hope I'm not gonna eat crow,
It's healthy.
but
Yeah, and
it is a big savings
And I think it's important too that we go to PPAC with
with the
a decision
recommendation.
either way, you know, not this 2-2.
Yep.
Hey,
Yeah.
Chelsea, can I have, and I know this is going to sound weird, but can I have extra support from you on this
Staff's
project?
Staff's recommendation is to proceed with MRI.
Yeah, no, I don't
we-
mean from that. I mean from actual execution of the contract. And
Oh, of
any
course.
issue we have. I know you usually do that, but I think we just because of where we are and the reservations, it's just not us. I mean, Tetra Tech had reservations, Paul had reservations. Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna need extra assistance to make sure this is done, executed on completely.
I will be happy to provide that personally and any reassurances that the committee needs. Like I said before, we have a great experience with MRI. We have items in place in the event that they don't perform. We have the bond. So a staff recommendation is to proceed. I just want to recap real quick, make sure, Jim, just recap what the vote was. I think it was 3-1 with,
Yes.
With Lynn
who was-
Applegren dissenting.
Okay, thank you. So yes, Doug, Jim, I will be there to personally help with Paul and Stephanie and the committee with this project. Absolutely.
Are you free?
Anytime.
No, I don't mean that. I don't mean availability. I mean,
Billable hours.
billable hours.
It's unlimited now, folks. You got a new budget.
No,
I
laugh a
knew
little,
Bob, I knew Bob
Chelsea.
would
You
make
can
some
laugh.
comment.
You can laugh.
Time.
Right.
Okay, Chelsea, anything else from your perspective?
I don't, we'll take this to PPAC. Jim, I assume you'll be attending in person to represent?
I will be there.
All right, and staff, Laura will be there to relay as well the staff recommendation to support the motion that the committee just provided.
I'll probably lose it.
The last, yeah, I know you will. The last thing on the agenda, I just put here for people to have access to it. I presented this for PPAC, which is Jim's, does a fabulous job each year. It's a CAPS, I call it a CAPS report, which is all we accomplished from last year. And I put that in there just so if anyone wants to go there, they can read. I think Jim, you distributed to.
Yeah, you sent that to us.
Yeah, you sent us, yeah, it was
I
good.
think most people have seen a copy of it, but I put it in there because Jim does a fabulous job of
He does.
documenting
Yep.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I think Carol, you came and said you should present this, have that, the PPAC. Probably should also be the Board of Supervisors, but right now it's on the agenda for Thursday. His report is on the
And I do it really so the volunteers get a bigger picture of what the whole group does. And they are valuable. Everybody all the volunteers are a valuable asset to the community. And this way they see that what different components are. And if they have an interest in trying something else, they get.
I use this, just so you know, this report I've given a couple people outside of our group who I'm trying to recruit to come into the as to what type of things we do. And they're amazed at all the things that we do. And it also gives them an idea if they have an interest where they might want to come on to the group. But I have given it to a few people I'm trying to recruit. They come onto the team. It's a very great recruiting tool.
Attaboy, Jim.
Yes.
After I slammed you.
He had dark hair when he joined.
Yeah, I know.
I think that's it.
I do have one quick update for the committee, just have a couple seconds. So tomorrow's PPAC meeting, there is a item to award a bid for the repairs and repainting of the arch bridge on Pelican Reserve Boulevard. Part of the requirements from the contractor is that they have to launch a barge to be able to do work along the wings and underneath the bridge. And there was 2 locations that we thought about, this Cortina Drive. If the contractor, there would be any objections if the contractor to launch.
That's the most obvious spot.
Yes, or Doug mentioned down here, but there'd be very minimal impact. If there's any damages that would try to get those repairs. So, but it's a requirement. They definitely would need a barge to do those repairs.
I think they're both easements in that area. So it's
Kind of wanted to share with the group that if that gets approved.
Somebody asked you to know what it's about.
Exactly.
Yep. Got it.
That is it.
I'll go to these.
Can I have a motion to
I make a
adjourn?
motion.
I'll second it, Harold, Dean.
This way, yep.
We got a 10 o'clock tax meeting in the theater.
Oh, yeah, it's tax meeting today.